Hello students, welcome to class. Welcome to Gyanvihar School of Education, Suresh Gyanvihar University. I'm Dr. Sonia Kaur Bansal and today I will be teaching you about Indian Constitution and status of education. So it's a part 1 video and you will be having many videos related to that. So subject is contemporary India and education. Gradually we will be learning what about Indian Constitution, how it was formed. So, my learning objective today is to enable you to understand about Indian Constitution, constitutional provisions, fundamental rights and duties, directive principles of state policy, right to information, constitutional values in the context of education, and then impact on LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization, impact on Indian society. So, this is all we are going to see in today's class. So, students, we all are very much aware that our Indian constitution is a wonderful constitution, democratic constitution, and we learn so many things and we get so many things out of it. So, just talking about the background of Indian institution. So I'm just coming to a little background form. So try to understand that. So in 1928, all parties conference, all the parties, political parties were there. Conference convened a committee in Lucknow and prepared a constitution of India, which was known as the Nehru Report also. So most of the colonial India was under British rule by that time from 1857 to 1947. Afterwards, we got freedom. So from 1947 to 1950, the same legislation continued to be implemented as India was a dominion of Britain by that time. For these 3 years, 47 to 50. So, as each princely state was convinced by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and VP Menon to sign the Articles of Integration with India, and the British government continued to be responsible for the external security of the country. So, thus, the Constitution of India repealed the Indian Independence Act 1947 and Government of India Act 1935 when it became effective on 26 January 1950, and India ceased to be a dominion of British Crown and became a sovereign democratic republic with the constitution. So we became democratic country with our constitution. So in our constitutions, Article 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60, 324, 366, 367, 379, 380, 388, 391, 392, 393 and 394 of the constitution came into force on 26th November 1949. Yes, before 26 January 1950. And the remaining articles became effective from 26 January 1950. So this is important for all of you to know that some of the articles were effective from 26 November 1949 and remaining articles came into effectiveness by 26 January 1950 onwards. So students, the constitution was drawn from a number of sources. It is the biggest constitution, so mindful of India's needs and conditions, because conditions were different by that time and people's requirements were different. So its framers borrowed features of previous legislations such as the Government of India Act 1858, the Indian Councils Acts of 1861, 1892, 1909, and then Government of India Act 1919 and 1935, and the Independence Act 1947. So it was actually collecting all the important facts from all these earlier past acts because it was the need of the people. So the later which led to the creation of India and Pakistan as well, and divided the former constituent assembly in two parts. And each new assembly had sovereign power to draft and enact a new constitution for the separate states. All right, students. So this is just background or brief introduction which I was actually planning to give to you. Now understand in detail what in today's class. So first of all, Indian Constitution. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. We must have a great passion for our Indian Constitution and respect as well. So what is Constitution, students? Let's understand it first. So almost everything we do is governed by some set of rules. Whatever we do in our country, we have some set of rules. And there are rules for games also, like soccer, for social clubs, for adults, in the workplace. There are also rules imposed by morality and customs that play an important role in telling us what we should do and what we should not do. So, being an Indian, we must know it is actually our moral duty as well. We must be well versed with our Indian Constitution. So, the term constitution comes through the Latin word constitutio. So, used for regulations and orders. So, the rules and regulations which are important for telling us what we should do and what we should not do is actually the main aim, soul of the Constitution. All right, students. So this is about the definition of Constitution that we have seen just now. Just understand that it is about set rules. Set of rules what we are understanding. So in this set of rules, what we are understanding that what is Constitution. For example, in the game of soccer, you can see three pictures here. It's a game of soccer, students. And a referee has full authority to enforce the rules or law of the game. So, who is having full authority to enforce rules or law on us? That is Constitution. So, in this game, the referee is having full control on the players. When a player does something against the rules, referee takes the action, like send off a player out of the ground, as shown in the images below. Now see, in the first picture, how it should be done. Sports must be played in a sporting spirit. So the players are playing in first pictures and that is fine. But in the second picture, if the players are fighting, that must not be done, should not be done. And who is having control on them? It is referee. So referee is giving them red card for not obeying the rules, for not following the rules set for the games. All right, this is Constitution, that we are also under one authority, under one law of the set rules. That is our Constitution. All right, students. Now, next is some rules that made by the legislatures. Legislatures means also known as Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in India. So for their own country are called law. So we need laws in society so our society can regulate and work properly as well. They are designed, these rules are designed to protect us and our property and to ensure that everyone in society behaves the way that the community expects them to. So, laws tell us what to expect as a consequence of our actions. Laws have been the glue that has kept society together. So, this is how law is working as a very special force, very needed force in society. And just imagine what will happen in society without laws. Without laws, there would be completely anarchy, unsystematic society. What would happen? Anyone can say anything to anyone at any time. Then just think about the system of that country. Will it be really appreciated? No, not at all. So this is the constitution's soul and spirit. So in general, the constitution is the supreme law of the land. And this is the constitution which is for common people also. So the constitution is the supreme law and it works for everyone. So all other laws have to conform to the constitution. Whatever the government is preparing, whatever the policies are here, whatever the new things are here, it should be according to the constitution. So the constitution contains laws concerning the government and its relationship with the people. You can see with the picture also, one side is government and one side is the people. And the government can reach to the people only through constitutional laws. So a constitution is concerned with two main aspects, students. That number one is the relationship between the different levels of government. So between the government and the citizens, how it is built up, all based on its constitution. So just understand in a very sweet way that whatever we do, whatever we must not do, is all actually controlled by Indian constitution. All right, students. Now, role of constitution in relationship between government and its people. We can see that in a very elaborative manner and very interesting manner in the form of flow chart. So let's have a look on that, students. So government and the people. So there are three parts of the government: legislative, judiciary, executive. And what does legislative do? Legislative makes laws for the people, and the laws are made according to the constitution. Then second part of the government is judiciary. And what is judiciary doing? That is interpreting the law and controlling the rights of the people. So it is as well very important. And then executive, who enforces laws on people and on any land. That is executive part of the government. So this is how legislative, judiciary and executive part work all together to do brilliant work according to the constitution in any country or on any land. Now let's have a look on some definitions also of the constitution. That a constitution is a set of fundamental principles according to which a state or other organization is governed. These rules together make up, constitute what the entirety is. So when these principles are written down into a single collection or set of legal documents, those documents may be said to comprise a written constitution. So everything is written. And why it is written? To making up rules. So rules are for the people and it is a legal document. Those documents may be said to comprise a written constitution. Or we can also say the document containing laws and rules which determines and describes the form of the government and the relationship between the citizens and the government. is called a constitution. So, the framing of Constitution of India. Let's understand now about it, how it was framed. So, in a very short way, we are understanding it that the Constituent Assembly of India was elected to write the Constitution of India. And following India's independence from Britain, its members served as the nation's first parliament. So, constitutional body was formed in 1946 for the purpose of making independent India's constitution. The assembly passed a resolution in 1947 January defining the objectives of the constitution. So Dr. Rajendra Prasad became the president of the Constituent Assembly. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, yes, of course, he became the president of the Constituent Assembly, and Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar became the chairman of its drafting committee on December 11, 1946. So it's very important for all of us to know about the Constituent Assembly, that the Constitution was drafted by the Constituent Assembly, which was elected members of provincial assemblies. Students, the 389 member assembly reduced later on to 299 after the partition of India. And these 299 people took almost 3 years to draft the constitution, holding 11 sessions over a 165-day period. So this time was taken. And the Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar was a wise constitutional expert. He had studied the constitution of about 60 countries. Yes, he was such a wise person that before finalizing anything, he studied many countries' constitution. So Ambedkar is recognized as the father of the Constitution of India. And in the Constitution Assembly, a member of the drafting committee, T. Krishnamachari, he also brilliantly appreciated Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, because he said that Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar was very careful in doing the constitution framing work, and the amount of work he done with enthusiasm was excellent. So students, this was how created in the form of Constituent Assembly. So let's understand more about the framing of Constitution of India. So the Constituent Assembly consisted of 389 members, of which 292 were elected by the elected members of the provincial legislative assemblies, while 93 members were nominated by the princely states. Now, before coming up to the framing of Constitution of India, how it was framed, I briefly want to tell you about how it actually developed. Its sequential timeline of the formation of Constitution of India. So 6 December 1946, formation of the Constitution Assembly in accordance with French practice was done. Then 9 December 1946, a meeting was held. And then 11 December 1946, the assembly appointed Dr. Rajendra Prasad as its president and H.C. Mukherjee as its vice chairman and B.N. Rao as constitutional legal advisor. Then on 13 December 1946, an objective resolution was presented by Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru and laying down the underlying principles of the Constitution. This later became the preamble of the Constitution. So, 22nd January 1947, objective resolution anonymously adopted 22nd July 1947, national flag was adopted, students. And 15th August 1947, we achieved independence and India split into the Dominion of India and Dominion of Pakistan. 29th August 1947, drafting committee appointed with Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar as its chairman. The other 6 members of committee were Munshi Muhammad Sadullah, Aladi Krishna Swami Iyer, and Gopala Swami Iyengar, Khaitan and Mitter. They were brilliant persons. And on 16 July 1948, along with Harendra Kumar Mukherjee, V.T. Krishnamachari was also elected as second vice president of Constituent Assembly. So 26 November 1949, the Constitution of India was passed and adopted by the Assembly. And on 24th January 1950, last meeting of Constituent Assembly was held and the Constitution was signed and accepted. This is very important date, 24th January 1950. It was signed and accepted with 395 articles, 8 schedules and 22 parts. And then 26 January 1950, the Constitution came into force. This work process took 2 years, 11 months and 18 days at a total expenditure of rupees 6.4 million to finish. And then G.V. Mavlankar was the first speaker of the Lok Sabha, the lower house of the parliament after India turned into republic. So this is how our beautiful constitution was made, students, during the due course of time. Now, let's understand the framing of Constitution of India as it borrowed many good features from other countries also. And the committee members, they had done brilliant work to adopt many things from other countries as well. So what they are, we are going to understand about that in a very proper way. So first of all, from UK, nominal head, the concepts of nominal head, president, cabinet system, post of prime minister, parliamentary, type of government, bicameral parliament, lower house, more powerful, council of ministers responsible to lower house, provision of speaker in Lok Sabha. These all concepts are taken from UK. Remember the students in a very nice way. Then from USA also we have taken lots of things, the like written constitution, appointment of vice president, fundamental rights, Supreme Court, head of the state known as president, provision states, judicial reviews. And from Australia, concurrent list, center-state relationship, language of the preamble. We have taken all these concepts and things from Australia. Then the concept of fundamental duties and 5-year plan we have taken from USSR. And emergency provisions were taken from the Constitution of Germany. Law on which the Supreme Court functions is taken from Japan. And we have taken federal system and residuary powers from Canada. From South Africa, we have borrowed procedures of constitutional amendment. And from Ireland, we have taken concept of directive principles of state policy. So isn't it brilliant that we have not actually confined to ourselves? Rather, we followed the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and our committee members of constitution framing. They were very wise and intelligent enough to borrow very good things from other constitutions of the world. So that's why Our constitution is having a very good spirit in that and a wonderful written constitution. The framing of constitution, this is the picture that I'm showing to you. That is how Republic Day celebrated. Now, the preamble to Constitution of India, that's very important for everyone to understand. The preamble to Constitution of India is a brief introductory statement that sets out the guiding purpose and principles of the document. And this is how we describe the whole and soul nutshell of the constitution of our country, that how it is actually assuming itself. So I read it word to word. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India to a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economy, and political liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity of the integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, the 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. So this is the preamble to Constitution of India. Now students, understand it in a more elaboratively. The first words of the preamble, we the people, signifies the power is ultimately vested in the hands of the people of India, as it is democratic in its form. So far, the preamble has been amended only once. Remember this, students, that preamble has been amended only once in 1766 by 42nd Amendment change, which inserted the words socialism, secularism, and integrity. So a brief description of these concepts are as follows in the order they came in preamble. Sovereign. This means free to follow internal and external policies. It means independent authority of state. It has power to legislate on any subject without control of any state, any other state. So this is sovereign. Then next term is secular. Secular means no particular religion is preferred in constitution. All religions have equal importance. Then comes the socialist, and it means no concentration of power and money. Then democratic, and it means ruled by elected representatives of the people of India. Then republic, it means no room for heredity, rural, or monarchy. Source of authority are people of India. So this is the description of preamble's important words, how we take it. Now let's understand the features of Indian Constitution. First of all, preamble. The preamble, the preface to the Constitution, and it describes the source, nature, ideology, goals, and objectives of the Constitution. Second important thing, very important feature, that is it is written constitution. There are two types of constitution in the world, and most of the constitutions are written, and this is largest constitution. So the Constitution of India is the largest one in the world. Originally, it had 395 articles and 8 schedules. During the period since 1950, a few articles have been deleted, but many more have been added through amendments. And today the constitution has 395 articles and 12 schedules and 22 parts in it. It is partly rigid, partly flexible parliamentary democracy. So in India, there is parliamentary from government. Parliamentary form of government is found in India. The majority party in the lower house, Lok Sabha, forms government. The council ministers is responsible to the Lok Sabha. The cabinet is the real executive head. In presidential form of government, the president is the executive head as well. And in India, the president is only the nominal head. So the fundamental rights, right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. These are very much important in Indian constitution. Then directive principles of state policy. This is included in part 4th, article 36 to 51. An independent and integrated judiciary. This is another feature. So the judiciary in India is independent and impartial, and it is an integrated judiciary with the Supreme Court at the apex of the hierarchy. The high courts stand in its middle and the lower courts are located at its bottom. Universal suffrage. Article 326 of the Constitution of India provides universal adult suffrage. The voting age has now come down from 21 to 18. Anybody who has completed 18 years of age is eligible to vote in general elections. This is one of the most revolutionary aspects of Indian democracy, that youth has the power to change the government or just do it in a brilliant way. Then secularism. India is a secular state. So although the 42nd Amendment Act inserted the word secular in the preamble to the Constitution, India has been secularism since independence. We cannot deny that. Then another important feature is single citizenship. In the United States of America, there is double citizenship. An American is a citizen of America and at the same time is also citizen of the 50 states of America. In India, there is only one single citizenship, that is an Indian. An Indian is a citizen of India only. He is not a citizen of any Indian state. Single citizenship is meant to be national unity and national integration. This is a really very big thing, big achievement in Indian Constitution. So single citizenship is here. Then fundamental duties. Fundamental duties did not form part of the Constitution. 10 fundamental duties were inserted in Part 4th of the Constitution. 42nd Amendment Act in 1976. A new Article 51, enumerates 10 fundamental duties. These duties are assigned only to citizens and not to aliens or foreigners. These duties are not justifiable, but in case of conflict, they will prevail over fundamental rights also. So, welfare state. Our constitution, students, aims at building a welfare state. And it provides for development of weaker and depressed sections of the society. It underlines the need of improving the condition of women, scheduled caste, and scheduled tribes who have remained neglected for so long period. So welfare state is also equally very important in our Indian Constitution. And very important democratic system. Our Indian Constitution lays a lot of emphasis on democratic values. And a number of democratic institutions have been established to give shape to these values. The center, states, and local self-governing bodies follow democratic principles, and all elections from Gram Panchayat to Parliament are democratically held. So, parts of Constitution of India. These are some parts in front of you, and just understand in nutshell that preamble, there are many parts, and 22 parts are here. So what those 22 parts are standing for? So just understand in a very brief way. So preamble with the words socialist and secular added in 1976 by the 42nd Amendment. That's an important thing to learn. Then part 1 is about states and union territories. Part 2, citizenship. Part 3 is about fundamental rights. Part 4 is related to directive principles of state and policy. Part 4A is related to fundamental duties. Part 5 is about the union. Part 6 is about the states. Part 7 is about states in the B part of the first schedule. Then part 8 is about union territories. Part 9th is about panchayats. Part 9th A is about municipalities. Part 9th B is about cooperative societies. Part 10th is related to scheduled and tribal areas. And part 11th is related to relation between the union and states in India. Part 12th is related to finance, property, contracts, and suits. Part 13 is related to trade and commerce within India. Part 14, services under the union and states. And part 14A is related to tribunals. Part 15 is related to elections. Part 16 is about special provisions relating to certain classes. Part 17 is related to the languages used in India. Part 18 is about emergency provisions in India. Part 19 is about miscellaneous constitutional provisions. Part 20 is about amending the constitution, how it will be amended if it is in need. Then part 21st is related to temporary, transitional and social provisions, special provisions. Then part 22 is related to short title, date of commencement, authoritative text in Hindi and repeals. So these are the 22 parts of Constitution of India that every Indian must be well introduced, well identified with. So this is about parts. Now fundamental rights, third, part third, article 12 to 35. So now students, let's study about fundamental rights. That is a charter of rights contained in the part 3 Constitution of India, and it guarantees civil liberties such as all Indians can lead their lives in peace and harmony as citizens in India. Fundamental rights are defined as basic human freedoms that every Indian citizen has the right to enjoy for a proper harmonious development of the personality. So these rights universally apply to all citizens irrespective of race, place of birth, religion, caste or gender. Alliance, persons who are not the citizens of India are also considered in matters like equality before the law. So they are enforceable by the courts subject to the certain restrictions. So fundamental rights must be understood by each citizen of India. Now know your fundamental rights: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, right to culture and right education, right to constitutional remedies. So first of all, right to equality. Students' right to equality is distributed in the constitutional articles 14 to 18. Article 14 is related to equality before law and equal protection of law. Article 15 is related to prohibition of discrimination on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Article 16 is about equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. Article 17 talks about end of untouchability. Article 18, abolition of titles, military and academic distinctions are, however, are exempted in this. Then, right to freedom, Article 19 to 22. It guarantees the Article 19 guarantees that citizens of India the following six fundamental freedom rights: freedom of speech and expression, freedom of assembly, freedom to form associations, freedom of movement, freedom of residence and settlement, freedom of profession, occupation, trade, and business. And then Article 20 is about protection in respect of conviction for offenses. Article 21 is protection of life and personal liberty. Article 21A, right to education. Article 22 is about protection against arrest and detention in certain cases. Then right against exploitation, Article 23 and 24. So Article 23 is about trafficking and forced labor in human beings prohibited. Article 23 declares slave trade, prostitution, and human trafficking a punishable offense. And Article 24 favors that no child below the age of 14 can be employed anywhere. Then right to freedom of religion is talked in Article 25 to 28 in Indian Constitution. And Article 25 is about freedom of conscience and freedom of free profession, practice, and propagation of religion. Article 26 is freedom to manage religious affairs. Article 27 prohibits taxes on religious grounds. Article 28, freedom as to attendance or at religious instructions or religious worships in certain education institutions. Cultural and educational rights are also involved, Article 29 and 30. So Article 29 is about protection of interest of minorities. This article confers the freedom to all citizens, students residing in different parts of the land to conserve their distinct languages, scripts, or cultures. State shall not impose upon it any culture other than the community's own culture. So, this article further assures to every citizen that no citizen shall be denied admission into any state run or state aided educational institution on grounds only of religion, race, caste, language, or any of them. Then Article 30 deals about right of minorities to establish and administer educational institutions. This article confers the right to establish an educational institution by the minorities, the right to administer it, and the right to get state grants for it without discrimination. So this was about Article 30. Now next is right to constitutional remedies. Article 32 deals with it, the right to move the Supreme Court in case of their violation, called Soul and Heart of the Constitution by B.R. Ambedkar. Yes, the right, Article 32 is called the Soul and Heart of the Constitution by B.R. Ambedkar. It provides that Supreme Court shall have the power to issue directions or orders or writs, including the writs in the nature of habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto, and senatorial, whichever may be. So appropriate for the enforcement of any of the rights, Constitution move to the Supreme Court case of transgression of fundamental rights. So the citizens are given the right to move in the higher court. Article 20 to 26 according to that. So students, I hope you are really understanding about it. So it is about that right of constitutional remedies. Now students, let's understand about these some concepts given in constitution. That is habeas corpus, that is bandi pratyakshikaran in Hindi. A writ of habeas corpus directs a person, usually a prison warden, to produce the prisoner and justify the prisoner's detention. Then mandamus, that is narmadesh. A writ of mandamus is an order from a court to an inferior government official, ordering the government official to properly fulfill their official duties or correct an abuse of discretion. Then prohibition, nishedh. A writ of prohibition is an order directed to the judge and parties of a suit in a lower court, ordering the court not to exercise jurisdiction in a particular case. Then quo warranto, a writ calling upon a person to show by what authority he or she claims an office, franchise, or liberty. Then criteria, that is cassati. A writ of criteria is orders a lower court to deliver its record in a case so that the higher court may review it. Then it's about fundamental duties also, students, that is given in Article 51A, Part 4th A. And it is about to abide by the Constitution and respect its steel and institution, to appreciate and follow the noble ideas which inspired our national struggle for freedom, to uphold, the protect and sovereignty, unity and integrity of India, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so, and to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transacting religious, linguistic, and regional diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. So this is especially given that Indian Constitution specifies the list of fundamental duties of the citizens, not only the rights, but it also defines the duties also. It says it shall be the duty of every citizen of India and to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to protect and improve the natural environment, include forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife. It is our fundamental duty to protect all these things and living creatures, to develop the social scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform, to safeguard public property and to give up violence, to strive towards excellence in all spheres, individual and collective activities, so that the nation constantly rises to higher level of endeavor and achievement. Further, one more fundamental duty has been added to the Indian Constitution by 86th Amendment of the Constitution in 2002. That was to provide opportunities for education to his child or ward, as the case may be between the age of 6 to 14 years. So this has been declared as fundamental duty by the Constitution. Now, in conclusion, we can say that Indian Constitution has lots of characteristics, and in that we have longest written constitution. It is partly rigid and partly flexible, a democratic republic, parliamentary system of government, a federation system is here, fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, and as well fundamental duties are elaborated for the citizens. It is a secular state. It talks about an independent judiciary and single citizenship in India. So this is all about an introduction of Indian Constitution in India. Now, students, it's quiz time. So let's go through the questions. In 1934, dash demanded for Constituent Assembly for the first time. All of you answer the questions in my comment box and just understand the concept of Indian Constitution in a brilliant way. So is it Indian National Congress, Swaraj Party, Forward Bloc, or Communist Party? All of you answer me, please, come in comment box. The Indian Constitution was drafted by Congress, Constituent Assembly, Judicial Assembly, or Hindu Mahasabha. You have to answer me. Then in question number 3, in Nepal, the struggle for democracy started in 1990, 1991, 1992, 1994. Yes. Answer me in the comment box. The father of Indian Constitution is B.R. Ambedkar, Liaquat Ali Khan, Rajendra Prasad, or S.C. Sinha. So this is about question number 5th. To ensure greater economic and social reforms, the Constitution introduced directive principles of state policy, fundamental rights, judiciary rights, executive rights. Question number 6 is about is a group of people who makes laws and run the government. Congress, judiciary, government, and executive. So what would be the right answer? Please tell me. So students, I really hope that you have enjoyed today's session about the introduction of Indian Constitution, and this is really very important for being an Indian citizen. We must know about our Indian Constitution and being prospective teachers also. If we are not well informed with our Constitution, then how can we teach our next generations? So it's a big question also. So I really hope that all of you will understand the concept of Indian Constitution in a very good way. So see you in the next class, students, in the continuation of Indian Constitution. So see you. Till then, all of you take care, stay safe, and be happy and keep learning.